been loose. He said, but just as I did for my people back here, he said, I'll do it again. He said, I'll kill everything around you, but I keep my children alive. Is there anybody that's in here tonight that say, for God I live and for God I will die? Is there anybody in here that say, God, I'm in a year that's uncomfortable. I'm in a year that don't seem right. I'm in a year where there is chaos and destruction all around. But God, I made up in my mind that I'm going to serve you all of my days. Look over at your neighbor and say, neighbor, what you need is a brand new year. Look at 13. Look at 13. Watch this. I close. I looked at 13. 13 according to the word of God. Lord God, you gotta understand this. When you look at 13 and you apply 13 to the word of God, watch this, Taki. When you watch and you compare 13 with the word of God, you find that there was 13 at the Last Supper before Jesus was betrayed. I'm getting ready to preach here. When you look at the 13th chapter of Revelation, it deals with the Antichrist. Y'all watching this? When you look at the 13th Psalms, it declares that the fool has said in his heart that there is no God. Oh my God. When you study your word, you find that in its record, there are 13 famines in the Bible. Y'all looking at me, but I study well tonight. You can find them Genesis 12 verse number 10, Genesis 26 verse number 1, Genesis 41 verse 54. You got Ruth 1 and 1, 2 Samuel 21 and 1. You got 1 King 18 and 1. You got 2 King 4 and 38. You got 2 King 7 and 4. You got 2 King 25 and 3. You got Nehemiah 5 and 3. You got Jeremiah 14 and 1. You got Luke 15 and 14. You got Acts, my God, 11 and 28. But you got to watch this now. Also, when you look at 13 in the Bible, it stamps the time that it took for the destruction of Jericho. For the city was compassed once each day for 6 days and 7 times on the 7th day. Let's add, church, will we? 6 plus 7 is 13. The enemies of God, my God, and how many multitude they came with. These were the names of every devil. We got Satan in the Hebrew. He came with a multitude of 13 times 28 is 364. Understand, every time the devil came against God, he came against him in the multiple of 13. Are you with me, church? Let's go to math class, if you will. Satan in the Greek, it was 13 to the third power, which gave the 2,197. This is how many that came against God. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, we need a new year. Then you got this is for you, Nikki, because I thought about your baby girl. Then you got the old serpent, even Satan, 13 times 212 gave you 2,756 more devils. But then we come over to Numbers, chapter number 21, verse number 8. You deal with the devil by the name of Hashabah. 13 times 45, 585 devils in the book of Numbers. Then we deal with Beelzebub. My God, 13 13 times 46 gives you 598. Then the deal with Belial, 13 times 6 gives you 78. Then the deal in Revelation, the 12th chapter, verse number 9, you deal with the devil that comes in the formation of a dragon. Y'all don't like this tonight. 13 times 75 gave you 975 that came with that dragon. I think to deal with the serpent. Think to deal with the devil of murderers. Think to deal with the devil of tempters. Think to deal with the devil of scrape. Glory to God, of goat. You deal with the devil of the lion. You deal with the devil as a lion. You deal with the power of the enemy. You deal with the adversities. My God, the adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion. I think to deal with the fowler. I think to deal with who is called the devil and Satan. I think to deal with 7 devils. I think to deal because the prince of this world is judged. My God, that's another devil. I think to deal, for when he speaks a lie, he speaks it because he is a liar. Those were 13 enemies that came against God. Come on, somebody. While God is trying to bless you, I said the devil is lurking, seeking who he may devour. Come on, doctor, let's go home. We look over at Job, and the Bible said that as Job came to worship God, the Bible said that Satan came also. And when the Bible said that Satan came, the Bible gives us this intelligence. It said that God steps up and he asks the devil, come on, what devil are we dealing with? We're dealing right now with Satan in the Hebrew. He steps up now and he asks him, where did you come from? He said, to and fro, seeking who I may devour. But then the Bible said that God says to Satan in the Hebrew, have you considered my servant Job, one that is upright? You want to grab your neighbor and say, oh neighbor, you need to be like Job, one that fear God. In this hour, I'm going to fear God. In this season, I'm going to walk upright before the Lord. Well, the Bible said that it is now a seed. He now says to God that you are only being praised by him because you're protecting him. But the Bible said that Satan challenges the power of God. God said, listen here, I'll let you touch him, but you can't take his life. In one day, it was Job that lost everything. I said that he had. He lost his house, lost his children, lost his money, but the wife was there. Can I tell you this? That even in the midst of losing it all in 2012, I come to tell you that God is getting ready to restore what you lost. There's no devil coming by virtue of 13 that's gonna destroy you. We are compassed round about. We are cast down, not forsaken. We are in distress, but not destroyed. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, God is working it out in my new year, in this hour. And it is Paul that says this now. There are some of you that have walked into a brand new year and you have declared your New Year's resolution. But then by the time April gets here, you're gonna defy everything you promised. But it is Paul that gets up in Mark number 7, chapter number 7, verse number 20. The Bible says that Jesus, he now mentions things that defile a person, and he says this, that it is what comes out of the mouth of them. What is that here? Well, I got 13 for you, and you list them in Mark chapter 7. He said, evil thoughts in this year. Be careful what you think. He said, adulterers, if you're married, don't you cheat. He said, fornicators, if you're not married, stop being a whore. Y'all don't like this tonight. He said, murderers. He said, thieves. My God in here. He said, wickedness. He said, deceit. He said, lordliness. He said, an evil eye. You keep looking at me wrong. God's talking about you. He said, blasphemy. He said, pride. He said, foolishness. It's a lot of that going around. But I come with a word that God has declared that 13 will be the year that the devil will take you out. 13 won't destroy you. 13 won't put you in depression. 13 won't have you out of your mind. But I come with the word that according to Paul in Romans chapter number 1, if you are out of the will, you are a candidate by the spirit of 13. I said that hate God. How do I know? It's because when I'm out of his will, the devil can come in, play with my mind. When I'm out of his will, I said the devil can play with my praise. But I come with the word in 2013 to tell somebody you made it to your hour of victory. If you've been living saved while they're looking at you, tell them this year is your year. If they say, why are you going to church? You just keep on coming. Because this year is your year. If they say, why are you jumping and you're shouting? This is your year. Why? Because everybody that's out of 13, everybody that's still out of the will of God, they're not a praiser, they're not a worshiper, but they're a spectator.